Welcome to Hatchet Job. We're taking a look at Driver San Francisco. I've played it. This is Yidgaf playing here, and Lupus is with us. Lupus, of the three of us, I know you're the better driver, but unfortunately, you haven't had a hands-on, so sorry. We'll see. Starting off, White Guy here is explaining the premise of the game to his buddy cop, that he has superpowers to possess the people in the cars around him, which is the primary game mechanic of just essentially being able to pop into whatever car you feel like.
And here we have a cutscene where he's explaining that he possessed a woman, and later on he insists that he didn't touch her in a naughty way. But of course we can't be sure about that. And weirdly, this black guy says, "You're not telling me you're pregnant again, are you?" Which is kind of a portent of what happens later. So teenage Wolverine. He looks like Wolverine to me. What do you think?
He does from this angle, yeah.
He does, with the stripy coat.
He looks like the Uncharted guy, too.
Yeah. What would an Uncharted Wolverine game be like? I don't know.
It's not the time for that.
No, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a Wolverine GTA game where when you crash and you fly out of your car as Wolverine, your claws extend and you can pin pedestrians against the wall when you hit them.
I want to play that.
Yes, I want to. That would be great. And you couldn't take any damage. And even if you're a really crappy driver, you'd still say, "I'm the best at what I do." And
Okay, back to Driver. We're
Okay,
driving
sorry.
now. We're going to possess people and other car things.
Yeah.
So,
Somehow that proves a point.
yeah. So explain to me here,
Yeah.
how well does this drive?
When you first get in it doesn't drive well because you kind of have. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, you can see that because you have to feather the throttle. You have to feather the trigger. And so what I'm doing now is I'm using the main mechanic where, in this kind of tutorial level of the demo, I'm using my possession ability to scan around and possess the driver of this car. So now this is kind of a quantum leap thing where I've possessed the driver, but his buddy doesn't know it. And you can see that the mission is I have to find a transporter.
And so,
Yeah.
to keep everything clear here, because I think it's kind of confusing, your real body is still in the orange car. You can see it right there.
Yeah.
And it's going to automatically follow you.
Yeah.
The main character, is driving both cars simultaneously?
Yeah, he is. I guess
Which-
yeah.
Should be terrifying for his partner.
I think he's got like an autopilot, like an aeroplane, which just inflates, and it just sits there. So now I'm looking for this ramp truck, but the problem is I don't know where it is because it's supposed to be highlighted on the mini map, but all the highlighting of vehicles on there are done with small yellow dots, and so I kind of just come across it by chance because you can't actually see what's going on in the mini map.
So you might notice here one of my major complaints is the pedestrians are much like Nightcrawler. They just they don't actually teleport, but they sidestep so quickly that they might as well not be in the game. And it reminds me of Burnout, where the city's just empty of people because it's mainly a car game. Why should there be people? If this is not GTA, just leave them out. They're not important.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds horrible, and I wouldn't dream of doing it in real life, but if there are pedestrians in the game, I want to run them over. That, for me, is fun. Or make it very... Go on.
That sounded horrible.
It did sound horrible.
To confirm, yeah.
Or make it very difficult for me to run them over, so that becomes a mini-game, but don't make it impossible.
Let me run over them, but make sure it's fun
Yes, exactly.
and challenging.
Maybe they can explode in confetti like in Halo.
So when you're teleporting right here, is that supposed to be an eyeball effect in Fresno?
I think it is, and when you zoom out, because you can zoom out to see essentially entire tracks of the city, you do get a kind of heartbeat sound as well. Because it's not a spoiler, because it's been announced previously, but the premise is that in real life, the cop who's driving is actually in a coma, so that's why he can do all this crazy stuff, but he doesn't know it.
Because he's not doing anything.
Yeah, because he just thinks he actually has the ability to zoom about and possess people. Danger, you really like this driving review, don't you?
Oh yeah. This is the redeeming quality of the game. Not redeeming to the point that I'm going to rush out and get it, but I like this first-person camera view quite a bit.
For me, it is the redeeming quality, and it almost makes me want to buy it because it reminds me of 70s films like The French Connection. I think Bullet. I can't remember if that was the 60s or 70s, where you see the hands moving, and we were discussing before, and I said it kind of reminds me of the movement in Mirror's Edge, that it's quite intricate, and it isn't just 1 and 2 o'clock or whatever it is, just rotating around the wheel like it's a tube. He actually moves the wheel in his hands, which is pretty good.
I noticed when the cop rammed into you from behind, he kind of like grasped, and I don't know, it seems very natural.
Yeah, it does, and it also looks quite good when it moves slowly too. Because I happen to like cars moving slowly. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a sexual quirk of mine, but I like cars that move slowly. Lupus,
you mean like 5 miles per hour?
No, even slower than that. Real slow. So Lupus,
Real
slow. Lupus, what do you make of it so far?
It's definitely arcadey. Man.
Okay, I think that says it all. You're just
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Just watching it doesn't really excite me. Yeah.
I think Danjo feels like that about playing it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So,
Like, can you unlimited? Is there a limit to how much you can just warp around and shift into other people?
I think there is in the main game, and I think there might be in multiplayer aspects. I'm not sure. Certainly, there will be some multiplayer games which you won't be able to shift in.
So here's something. While you were messing around with another car, the important car just got on the off-ramp to a highway backwards.
Yeah.
And you didn't actually do that. You didn't make that decision. It was like an AI thing.
Yeah.
Which I find to be very unsettling. Right? That the main mechanic of the game, I can't imagine how it would be anything more than marginally beneficial to you.
Yes, it is a bit weird, because essentially what you do is when you shift, you exchange the ability to control your car and you hand it over to the AI in exchange for getting something which might be useful. But it's only going to be useful if your AI behaves intelligently.
And it's not.
And it's not. And so that kind of makes me wonder whether this is kind of a kludge where they put a single-player game which has good atmosphere and fantastic script, that I think anyway, but really the mechanic will work better in multiplayer.
I think you're just reaching. I don't think that's going to happen.
You think they've just hung a game on a mechanic that doesn't deserve to be in it, don't you?
It sounds like a kind of a round table. Somebody pitches a neat, pretty original idea.
Yeah.
And on paper, it sounds cool, but you can't actually use it in the game in a way that is fun or useful. It's just neat. It's not practical.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I was using it to kind of try different cards. So this is a one-man race in which you race 2 cars. So you have to get your cars in first and second by constantly swapping between them.
Were those 2 people up top, the dad and the daughter?
It was. Well, I hope it wasn't the daughter, because it was not an attractive gene pool. If it was, it reminded me of kind of a skinny Patrick Swayze.
But then who would the other guy be? Then who was talking up there?
I don't know. That's another problem with the game. I don't know who's talking half the time.
Because you can hear the 2 different people who should be in 2 different cars, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, they're on, like, Wi-Fi or whatever. But you can also, at least in the story, you can hear your real guy and his partner talking as well, simultaneously. It's confusing.
It is confusing, and it is a shame, because the script is actually quite good. Because when you zoom into different cars, the passenger of the car will speak to you as if they know you. But of course, you're somebody else. It's like in Quantum Leap, when somebody speaks to Sam, he doesn't know them, so he kind of has to make it up. And the policeman will actually say things to them like, "Do you want me to go faster?" Or, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't like that." Or, "I'm calling you by the wrong name because I've just decided that's your nickname now." So that's actually quite funny. Here you see me being swung across the road for no apparent reason. My friend actually had this car, but it was stolen.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. He then bought a Golf diesel Volkswagen.
So right now you just popped from your first place car to a third place car, pulled them up, and now you're waiting for the first place car to just lag behind. It's weird. I don't understand why you need to teleport between two people in a race.
Okay, so I think what it's supposed to teach you is shifting quickly, but also I think the plan is that you get one car really far into the lead, you teleport to the second one, and then you use the second one as defense. So you kind of use it to smash people off the road.
So you're not trying to get first and second, you're just trying to get a car in first.
I'm trying to get first and second, but I have to use one of my cars to stop the red guys. So I can either just get my cars up as far as I can, but as soon as I swap to the other one, the first one will drive badly and lose first place. Or I can kind of keep on swapping between them and try and use the one behind as a block for the red guys. It isn't fulfilling. You know, if you give me a big open world, then give me a chance to kind of drive around it how I want to, but don't have this weird thing where I can't really appreciate either of the cars I'm driving because I don't have the time.
I do like this streamer business that I didn't notice before. How like the bad guys have like a red streamer coming out of their taillights, and your good guys have blue. That's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I mean, it works for what it's doing.
It works.
Which is more than I can say for the base mechanic, right? I mean, we got to reach, but we will. Let's be nice.
Well, here's the thing. In this situation, I'm constantly having to worry about protecting two cars. Now, there's going to be multiplayer, and I'm wondering if in multiplayer, let's say there's some kind of mode where I get to play defense, so I'm kind of trying to protect somebody. That's my only job. I can then hop from car to car and look for the position that's most beneficial to that role. I don't actually have to worry about racing. And so I think when you're freed from the racing aspect, maybe the hopping from car to car will be useful. Because what happens otherwise is you're going so fast, let's say I'm being chased by cops and I want to get a truck to smash into them. I'm going so fast, by the time I see a truck and I take control of it, the cops will normally have gone past anyway, so I can't use it. But if I'm trying to protect the
it's not a tactical thing.
No, it's not a tactical thing. It's you know, but if I'm trying to protect the car being chased by cops, well, I can go as far ahead as I want, grab a truck and bring it down and use it properly, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. And so I'm really using the environment and really using the trucks. I'm not kind of in this panic mode where I'm looking for everything on the street.
Be smart, man. Play this one.
I suspect that even if it completely works, would not be that great.
Yeah. So something that just happened here, which is really kind of annoys me, is that when you start a new mission, you get kind of a cutscene, in-game engine cutscene, where you hear the people talking, explaining what the mission is, and you see your driver's hands moving. And it's clearly in the game. But instead of taking over and just driving from that moment on, it puts you into a loading screen. So you lose all sense of momentum. I know I'm driving badly, Lupus. I can't help it. It isn't a very good car.
You could help it by driving better.
Are you intentionally trying to hit the pedestrians right now, or?
No, I'm just shit.
I think he's trying to figure out on the mini map. It looks like there's a goal,
Yeah.
but you got to find how to get to it.
Yeah.
That's what all the squirreliness is about.
So that's the thing. You see all those little staircases and ramps on the side of buildings that you could use if it were GTA. You can't use them here. You're basically stuck on the road. So
They're invisible walls.
they're invisible walls.
Yeah.
And after you get open world games like GTA and Just Cause, having this fantastic scenery is great, but let me interact with it in some meaningful way.
Or even a small way, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be mind-blowing, but it needs to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I think in this clip later on, you'll see me hit a ramp that in any other game would take me kind of flying over a building, but this one I just kind of hit a fence and bounce off.
Is it just me, or did that, demo barrier turn out to be a pretty effective way of dodging the cops? Because they go sliding by, and you get reset pointed the other way.
I would like to claim I was using it intelligently. I wasn't. I just took a wrong turn and ended up facing the barrier. So in the bottom left-hand corner, beneath the objective symbol, you can see this kind of bar that burns up occasionally. I can use that to thrust, get a bit of a speed boost, and I can also use it to ram people out of the way.
Is that because coma?
Yeah, because coma. But here's the thing, you can do that in the two-car race as well, but if you use it up in one car, it's used up in the second.
Coma.
Yeah, coma. That's the answer to everything. This is the equivalent of the Wayback Machine from Assassin's Creed series. If anything
Now
goes
that
wrong,
you
it's
mentioned
coma.
it, I'm watching his hands. Every time you slam into something, he's like, it's effective. I like it.
It's really good.
Yeah, they need that, but in a, I guess, more traditional thing? I don't know.
I mean, we were talking beforehand, and I said, I really like to see those hands in GTA 4.
Which you can do on the PC with a mod, although it's not animated nearly as well.
Yeah, you told me something about his eyes, didn't you?
Well, yeah, because it's putting the camera like inside his skull, but it's still rendering the entire face. So in this game, when you get hit by cops from behind, you see the hands freak out. In GTA, when you get hit from behind, you see the backs of your eyeballs come forward, which is same effect, really.
Yeah. Oh man. Are you laughing at GTA or at this game, Lucas?
Yeah, I'm just sort of seeing the Looney Tunes eyeballs shooting out of the head.
Yeah.
Really serious impact.
So now, a bit more loading.
So you win. You won the game.
No, you don't. You go into a cutscene which looks fantastic, but which you aren't actually allowed to play.
Get me through.
Well, that's understandable because what's happening is not something you could actually. Driving. You can drive.
Yeah, but you can't drive in this bit. This bit looks extremely cool, but I'm not doing it. So what's the point?
Yeah. I kind of want this mechanic in a kind of easygoing game, like
Yeah.
Burnout, only as a car choosing mechanic. That's it. Instead of going back to a garage and looking at a menu, I see something else on the road and I think it looks nice, and now I'm in it. And there's no coma, there's no story, it's just
Hey, look at this ramp. Oh, I hit an invisible wall and I bounce off.
So what was that ramp for?
It's there for you to interact with, but you can't actually really do anything exciting with it. At least I couldn't.
Get me where I want to be, and I'll forget it.
In a supercharged Audi.
So, wasn't your goal to lose the cops right before the last cutscene?
Yeah, so I have to lose the cops, which means getting a certain distance outside the radius of their red blob.
But you succeeded, you lost them. You went to the goal, which was to be surrounded by cops?
Yeah, and then
Why did you have to lose the cops to be surrounded by cops?
because the idea is that you're driving a guy who is basically some kind of criminal important person. So you're his bodyguard, and so the cops are always going to be after him.
Except for you're not really driving as you're driving as somebody else that you possessed.
Yeah, you're driving as a member of that criminal organization.
So you're still technically the main guy,
Yeah.
who is a cop, who really should just stop the car and turn the bad guy over. Because that's what cops
God,
do.
I never considered that. That's a perfect plot hole. And also, actually, the first mission is, hey, you don't believe I can possess people, I'm going to go and try and kill loads of pedestrians by jumping trucks and smashing into my colleagues to show you.
Well, that was your choice to make.
Well, it wasn't my choice. I was put into a system which oppressed me and forced me to do that, Danjo.
Not interested.
That, you know,
Coma.
coma. That should just be the shorthand for any peculiar game design decisions. Coma, and that's all you say.
That's the last. Good.
So yeah,
Get away.
yeah,
Oh, good job. Yeah, all right.
yeah. So now I have to take the client to the barn because obviously he wants to go line dancing.
And you have, for no reason, 30-something seconds to do it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. If you give me a big world to drive around in a demo, don't limit me. Because all I was doing was restarting the demo and driving around until my time ran out. Because that's what I want to do. I don't want to do your little levels.
Although it might not be a demo thing, it might just be that's what the mission structure works.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Well, we'll see. I'm not convinced I want to like it. I might give it a go on multiplayer as a rental or maybe as a, see if it has a budget following. Danjo, I think you're done, aren't you?
Yeah, that's enough driver for me.
Yeah. And Lupus, I think you're probably done as well.
Yeah,
Coming soon!
I might give the demo a spin, but peculiar.
Yeah.
Interesting game, but
Okay. The video's stopped now. You can stop talking.
yeah, well.